so the scuttle last week, as you guys have seen, was the governor made an announcement to fully ban some of the hemp THC products. So our story is focused here on the Texas bill, recent bill here would legalize recreational marijuana. The Texas lieutenant governor wants to ban THC products, and THC may soon be banned in Texas after Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick last week pushed for a full ban of psychoactive drugs found in cannabis or other products. The brief here is Texas Rep. Jessica Gonzalez filed a bill to legalize cannabis in the state of Texas, and the bill would allow adults 21 or older to use recreational marijuana. A 10% tax would be imposed on the sale of all cannabis and cannabis products. 21 or older to and recreational marijuana. A 10% tax.
You with us? You with us, Russ?
Yeah. Okay, I was getting feedback from myself there. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Just the continuing here, State Rep Jessica Gonzalez filed the House Bill 1208 for the upcoming legislative session before Patrick came out against the THC products, which was announced last week. The bill would allow, again, 21 or older to use or possess, transport up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana for personal use. Adults would also be allowed to keep up to 10 ounces of cannabis at their residence as long as it's stored in a secure location. Smoking and consuming cannabis while in a public place or in a car or public road would not be allowed. Packaging for cannabis products would be required to be in, of course, child resistance packaging that would clearly be labeled and not easily confused for candy. The bill also lays out plans for the production and sale of recreational marijuana. Under the plan, businesses looking to grow, transport, test, or sell cannabis would need to be licensed by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. And again, that 10% tax would be imposed on the sale of all cannabis products. If passed, the bill would take effect September 1st, 2025. And the Texas legislative session begins here January 14th next month. We've seen movement here with recreational and illegal. Because marijuana is legal in Texas, but voters in some municipalities here in Texas have already supported decriminalization. We've seen that with Dallas, Lockhart, Bastrop, Austin, and others have made measures to legalize possession of 4 ounces or less of marijuana with arrest or citations. Denton, Austin, Elgin, Killeen have all done this. And then Ken Paxton, the Texas Attorney General, has filed lawsuits in the past against many of these cities, saying that the measures conflict with state law. So medical cannabis is legal in Texas, though it is very limited. Texas's compassionate use program allows for certain physicians to prescribe low THC cannabis to Texans with an approval list of conditions. Some of those conditions include epilepsy, MS, autism, cancer, and PTSD. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick called for the so-called hemp loophole to be closed here in the next legislative session. So concerns here with what things moving and shaking as a heated 89th legislative session begins here in the Lone Star State, Jason.
Oh man, Russell, thank you so much for that. I mean, I just find it amusing that Texas wants to try to enact an adult use legislation when they only have like 3 stores in the entire state of Texas under their medical program, and probably the most restrictive medical program in the entire country. I mean, and then to top it off, we're looking for a story. So if some of you find a story on this related to Kim Rivers putting money behind Ken Paxton's hemp ban, please share it with us so we can bring it to you guys. But it's super interesting how this is going to try to play out, and like they're going to have a super restrictive adult use market, I would imagine, in Texas under this bill, and all they keep doing is just trying to brush this under the rug, and I don't think this is going to work, and I don't think this bill is even going to pass the legislature in the first place. I think it's good to beat the drum and whatnot, but I don't think it stands a chance to pass the legislature in Texas.
Yeah, we're more concerned, I think, over the regulation of the hemp products here in Texas. It's a $10 billion industry here in Lone Star State. We want to, regulate, not eliminate, is kind of the talk here, against for lobbyists going into this next session here in the Lone Star State. So, a lot of bills do get filed for marijuana. We do need to probably get. I mean, I support a better teacup program, but I think our teacup program, which is the compassionate use program, which is at currently 1%, that's so low and such a bad program that it forces folks to, it forces veterans to get hemp products. It forces people with chronic pain to try, a gummies, and so our hemp program does well and serves the community here in the Lone Star State, but that medical marijuana side needs to show some improvement, or we just need to regulate and tax maybe our hemp program, but we just need to regulate it and not eliminate it, and that's kind of what this roller coaster of the 89th session is here in Texas is going to.
Russell,
be like.
Russell, don't you think too, though, that also this type of legislation, it also makes people become criminals, because a lot of them drive into neighboring states like New Mexico and Oklahoma and whatnot to procure their cannabis goods, and then that makes them instantly criminals because they're crossing a state line with a federally controlled substance.
Well, it's not just crossing state lines. I mean, it's going to drive the black market, and then you've got all of this fentanyl crisis, So one of the arguments we make to lawmakers is, look, let's tax and regulate this, and keep the illicit products off of and make it this is safer to regulate, and then not to mention the tax revenue that this can create, and the jobs that it employs and the good that it does for our fellow Texans. And that's what we report on here at the Texas Hemp Reporter. But we've gone 4 years here in Texas with our hemp program, and then some of these we didn't get no real movement ever happened in the last session on any of the hemp stuff. There's too many issues with the border here in Texas, so lawmakers really looking to address some of the concerns they have on this. But we're all for regulation. The market here in Texas supports healthy regulation. We're all good for age gating our stores at 21 and up, having child-proof packaging. Where most of our operators are already doing these things here in the Lone Star State. So it's just getting this on paper and coming to an agreement with our lawmakers and how best to regulate our hemp program. And we'll see what happens with marijuana. That could always improve, because it's a real joke of a program here in Texas.
And shout out to Brian Dombrowski with a big old super chat who says, "Get behind Texas hemp. Plenty of room for those California marijuana brands on the hemp side here, and a lot less legal 280E liability too." What do you think about that, Jordan?
Yeah, I think the 280E issue is something that has to get resolved quickly, right? I mean, I think that's why a lot of the folks on the THC side of the house are so excited about rescheduling, because what the Farm Bill's done is it's made these hemp direct products, not susceptible to 280E, able to be shipped across state lines and delivered straight to your door. And so I think just leveling the playing field for the THC side of the industry will be really beneficial.
Fair enough. Jesse, Jenny, you have anything you want to share on this? No? Jesse,
no.
Look at that.
Nothing to add or contribute that anybody hasn't already said.
Fair enough, you guys. Interesting. All right, well, on that, I guess I'm going to roll into our final story of the day. And it has